Some know him as Nusret Got Jax, others know him as internet sensation SALTBAE. But whatever you call him, there isn't a doubt that his dedication and passion for the culinary industry has brought him to new heights. Not only did he appear in an episode of Narcos, serving off his unique style of meat to the characters of the popular series, he also had his meat menu published in the New York Times. In 2017, he underwent hard criticisms by posting a photo on Instagram that showed him posing like the late infamous Cuban leader Fidel Castro. He did, however, take down the post shortly after. This Cooking Supernovas restaurant has one of the largest band of followers for an eatery of roughly 12.2 million on Instagram. Without further ado, let's jump right into the life of SALTBAE. On August 9, 1983, in Erzurum, Turkey, Nusret grew up very poor, but never gave up on his dream of opening a restaurant. His parents, Fatma and Fair Gökçe, struggled to provide for their children, and when Nusret was 2, along with his 3 brothers, Erman, Özgür, and Uğur, his family moved from Erzurum to the coastal town of Darika. Nusret was the son of a coal miner, living in a humble town. His family struggled to make ends meet. In an interview with the NBC News, Nusret said, quote, "I graduated from elementary school in 1994 when I was 13 years old. Thereafter, I quit school due to financial issues and started working as a butcher's apprentice," end quote. Nusret saw an opportunity where many would have seen an obstacle and took this as his opportunity to make his dreams come true. He spent the next 13 years working as a butcher's apprentice in the Karaköy district in Istanbul. In that same interview, he painted a picture for us describing just how young he was when he started. Quote, "The sleeves on my coat were too long and my apron swept the floor. I had to stand on water cases to reach the counter," end quote. At the age of 26, his thirst for knowledge of the meat industry grew, causing Nusret to travel to Buenos Aires, Argentina, with the hope of learning and understanding more about the international meat industry. Soon after, he set out to the US for quote-unquote meat tourism. However, he was refused a visa several times, but his persistence paid off, as he received a 3-month visa in late 2009. Excited as a neophyte in the international meat industry, Nusret returned to Turkey and opened his first restaurant, known as ingenious or Nusr-et, in Istanbul. The humble restaurant had only 8 tables and 10 staff until a local businessman, Ferit Sahenk, stopped by for a bite and was blown away by the entire operation. To Nusret's delight, Sahenk invested in his restaurant, which provided Nusret with enough capital to open several more restaurants in locations that included Ankara, Doha, and Dubai. Today, Nusret has 13 restaurants around the world with over 600 employees. After that, Nusret was doing well, while his business was growing rapidly until 2017, when it exploded and he became an internet sensation. How, you ask? Well, Nusret posted a video to Instagram that captured him slicing a steak and whimsically throwing salt in it. To say the video was well received would be an understatement, as it was viewed over 10 million times, converted to GIFs and memes, and was even shared by pop singer Bruno Mars. After that, Nusret became known as the one, the only SALTBAE. Shortly after the video's success, he stated, quote, "Actually, that move at the end came automatically. I did not do that to show off. It is just my signature. You can think of it as the final touch for a painting. It was like a final touch for the meat. I was blessing the meat," end quote. Thereafter, many beloved celebrities have been spotted dining in his restaurants. Stars like Leonardo DiCaprio, the late Maradona, Tommy Hilfiger, David Beckham, and Lionel Messi. Even the Venezuelan president, Nicolás Maduro, whose attendance in SALTBAE's restaurant caused an angry uproar, as many expressed extreme outrage as to why he's engaging in food tourism, while 2/3 of Venezuelans are suffering starvation. Despite his fame, his life has not changed, and as he puts it, quote, "I still keep going to work from the morning until midnight," end quote. This fireball stays in hotels close to his restaurants and begins his days with a workout, followed by a protein-heavy diet. He later runs to work, does his thing, and returns home around midnight and sleeps for 4 hours, just to get up the next day and do it all over again. You're probably thinking, how does this 37-year-old culinary artist have time for a life? A wife, children? The answer is he doesn't. He has stated, quote, "I'm single, I'm working so hard, I have no time for a girlfriend. She'd want dedication to go shopping, go to the movies. She might be okay in the first week, but the demands would come in. I can't tell her to come and wait at the restaurant for 20 hours, end quote. Talk about being married to your work. As famous and delicious his food might sound, it's evident that his style is not everyone's cup of tea. Scatchy Cole, a senior culture writer at BuzzFeed, was less than impressed after her visit to the New York restaurant back in March 2020. In her article on the popular digital media website, she starts it off by writing, quote, "The burgers have no flavor, but that's not really the point," end quote.
Bazinga!
She continued in her article by saying, "What was really surprising about SALTBAE's new restaurant was that the food didn't even taste bad," she wrote. Quote, "For food to be unpleasant, it has to taste like anything. Anything at all. But going to SALTBAE is not really about the food, even though finishing a meal there constitutes some kind of personal victory over your own body and instincts and mouth," end quote. Cole continued by explaining how the reviews are as bad as the food, with one Yelp reviewer stating, quote, "Okay, I understand that this is a restaurant based on a meme, which should be enough to stay away, but the experience I just had far surpassed how bad I ever imagined it could be," end quote. Scatchy Cole goes on and on and on in her article about how bad the food truly is. I don't know about you, but it makes me think twice about ever trying the food at one of his restaurants. If you're interested in reading the full article, we'll leave you a link in the description box below. This restaurateur has his share of controversy. For example, in 2019, he was accused of sexism at his Brickell Steakhouse. According to a news article in the Miami New Times, SALTBAE didn't want to see any female servers on the floor. Melissa Compere stated in her U.S. Equal Opportunity Employment Commission filing, or EEOC, quote, "I was regularly required to work lower-paying jobs and shifts because of my sex. I suffer humiliation and mental and emotional distress because of this discrimination, and I was also terminated for a reason I believe was pretextual, and that I would not have been terminated but for my sex/gender," end quote. She also claimed that the restaurant violated the Fair Labor Standards Act by failing to pay workers legal wages and tips. The lawsuit Melissa filed claimed that during the 15-month period she worked at Nusr-et Got Jax Miami restaurant, she as well as other co-workers were not paid an hourly wage and only received a portion of the tip pool that the restaurant gathered through an automatic 18% charge. On another occasion in 2015, SALTBAE was also fined £4,500 after threatening to kill former employee Ali Ihsan Kandil because he sat a woman on the same table as men in one of his restaurants. Nusret became enraged at Ali and screamed at him, quote, "Did you sit the women there, you pimp? Are you selling women in my restaurant? I will kill you. F*** off. I am firing you," end quote. Along with the fine for verbal assault, he also served 5 years of supervised liberty, which is characterized by regular check-ins by police.
Nusret went from being the butcher's apprentice to a top chef and internet sensation with 14 restaurants in Turkey, the US, Qatar, and many other places in the United Arab Emirates, such as Abu Dhabi, which is where our next star has had several performances. This pop star is a Canadian-bred sensation and has taken the world by storm. Stay tuned.